Hello, I'm Otto, and welcome to episode 1 of my Factorio Space Age guide for new players. Let's get into the game. Come on. Welcome to Factorio Space Age Free Play. Your task is to dispatch an interstellar space platform. You will need to research advanced technologies in order to unlock the rocket silo and discover other planets. Start small, work your way up with automation, construct a reliable base of operation, and reach for the stars. Protect yourself from the native species, as they might not appreciate your presence. Yes, the biters do not appreciate our presence. Um, so the first thing that I like to do is we're gonna hit E, and I'm gonna change the color of my character. So this is the inventory tab. We can see we start out with a couple of things, and this is the crafting menu. So our goals are to, well, we're just gonna get to the process of automation. So in this episode, that's what we're gonna be doing. In the last episode, what I'm calling episode 0, we created the seed for this. So if you want to follow along and play on the same seed, feel free to go watch that and see how we set it up. I might try to see if I can like post the string in the description. We'll see. So another thing that I like to do very early on is I mentioned in the last episode, alt mode. So we're going to enable this, and alt mode allows us to see what is contained in containers, what are in the combinators, which we will get into in a future video, as well as the recipe that's set for multiple items. So I'm just right-clicking all of these. Right-click is the way that you quote-unquote mine things, and technically when you're removing buildings, you are mining them. So we need to get into some of the research, and the way we're going to do that is you can either click up here or you can press T. So the first thing that we're aiming for is we need to make 50 iron plates, and that will unlock steam power for us. So once we get through these, we are going to start, we need to get through, we need to get at least to the point where we're automating in this episode. So I'm just going to start out by clearing some of the rocks and trees in the area. We are going to need a few of them. Generally, the bigger the rock, the better it is, because you can see over here on the right-hand side. This one gives us coal and stone, and that's just going to help us jumpstart our little starter base. We do still want the ones that just have stone in them as well. We are going to use all of the stone to make stone furnaces into oblivion. No, we need a lot of stone to make a lot of stone furnaces, which some of which we will use in the next episode, and some of which we will. Ooh, look at these two big ones over here. That's a big one too. Oh, that's different. Yes, we will need to set up a massive smelting section. I think probably in episodes like 4 or 5 or 6 or something like that. So if you watched my last guide, I actually played through the game first, and that allowed me to take notes on exactly what episode was gonna be what. I'm going a lot more blind on this playthrough, mostly because I just did a guide, and I'm kind of more familiar with roughly the layout on how we're going to have each episode. So I know that, for the most part, this episode, we just need to get into basic research. In the next episode, we're going to be setting up a smelting section for our starter base. And episodes 3 and 4 will largely be building out the starter base. So for now, we need to get into some of this iron. So if I open up my menu, I'm going to take the burner miner and the stone furnace, put them on my bars. I'm also going to put coal in my bars, because that's something that we're going to frequently need to use. And any stone that we pick up, you can just click on the stone furnace to craft them. Left click will make one at a time, which you can see in the bottom left hand corner. If I right click this, it makes 5 at a time, and if I shift click it, it'll make everything that I possibly can. So let's get a burner down. I want to start with at least 10 of the burner miners. and this will feed directly into a stone furnace. If we open this up, we can take a stack of coal and put it in the fuel, and you can see that now it is mining iron ore, and it is placing it into this stone furnace. So you can also shift click this in and shift click it out. You can shift right click to take half of whatever it is that you just clicked on, or half of whatever a full stack is, if that's, you know, the way that you're doing that. You can also pick up the stack and right click to add one at a time. You can also do this in what I will call the world view. You can shift left, control left click, and that will place a full stack in there. You can control right click, which will put half of a stack or half of whatever you're holding. Or you can press Z on top of it and it'll add one at a time. This is something that we are going to be using quite frequently. So now we can collect our iron plates. Same with this, you can shift click them into your inventory. You can also hover over and control click into your inventory. So this is the main way that we're going to be doing this. We're going to be control clicking things into our inventory. And the way this works is it takes the product and not the ingredients. One exception to that is the burner miners. If we were to control click on this, it would take all of the coal out of the fuel. And I believe that's maybe one of the only situations where it will take whatever is being... I mean, I guess technically that's being crafted, but anyways. So let's make some more burner mining drills. We have enough to make 2. And you can see in the bottom left-hand corner, if we have all of the raw materials, well, the non-smelted versions, like if we had, like we can't smelt in our inventory, but if we had the raw materials, so the iron plates, the gear wheels, and even the stone to make the stone furnace, you can see below the ingredients that are required to make this. We can click on this and it will craft all of the intermediate products that are needed, or the buildings that are needed to create that item. And when you do this one at a time, it'll make the intermediates and then the item, then the intermediates and the item. But if you were to shift click this or right click this, will actually make all of the intermediates first before it makes any of the items. So if you had, say, 50 burner mining drills and you shift click that, it'll make all of the gears, the 150 iron gears first. It'll make the 50 stone furnaces and before it ever made a single burner miner. So that is something to keep in mind. So we're going to use R to rotate this and make sure that these are facing, down. So you might notice that I just did something. Like, how did I get this? So if you, the best tool that you're going to have in this game is called the pipette. You hold Q over an item and it is in your inventory, you will grab it. If you do that and you don't have the item in your inventory, we can ghost it down. And this is part of what I mentioned with the interface, the pick ghost item if no items are available. That is what that's what it allows us to do, is place ghost items like this. So we have 6 here, so I'm going to add 4 more, and that's how far we're going to go with these. These need some fuel, so I'm just going to Z, put some fuel into them. And we are going to go collect some more trees. We will need trees for power poles, and we just unlocked steam power. So we unlocked the ability to make pipes, underground pipes, offshore pumps, boilers, and steam engines. So let's talk a little bit about those real quick. So the boilers are how we kind of get the power. They do the polluting. They need water. So you can see right next to my mouse, consume water. It consumes 6 per second. And don't mind the little diamond next to it. We will discuss that later on down the road. That is quality, which is a new addition to Space Age. So they need water. So we will have to make an offshore pump. So we're going to make one of these. And the boiler consumes the water and uses fuel. You can see the fuel is, there's stone, there's coal, and there's this little green ball of junk. That is actually spoilage. We will talk about that later as well. That is a huge component of one of the planets, and a minor component here, but not really. Like, it's just like the fish. Like the fish that we get out of the lakes can spoil. Um, so uh, they generate 60 steam per second, which you can see at the bottom. Don't mind the temperature; that's not a big deal right now. But they generate 60 steam per second, and these steam engines will consume 30 steam per second. So for every two steam engines we make, we need one boiler, and they need to be fed by offshore pumps and the pipes, which are in the next window. Underground stuff will actually just feed underground. So instead of having, let me just pipe at this. So instead of just having something like this that we cannot go through, you can instead have underground, so these will connect and allow you to move through. Okay, so what else do we need? We need some more burner miners. I don't know how many off the top of my head, but we need to be... We're going to need a bunch. We'll just make them all. I need at least maybe 5 for the copper. Four, somewhere between 3 and 5. I'm going to need 4 for the stone, and we're going to need a bunch for the coal up here. Nice that all of our materials are pretty close together. That is not something that is always the case when we start. And any free time that you have while you're waiting, it's nice to just get rid of some of the trees that are like near the patches, or if you're familiar, anything that will be in your way. At some point soon, we are going to start working on the power, which we will need water for, which is up here. So we will have to set up some kind of power. It's nice that we have an extra coal up here. Okay, so we're going to place 3 more of these down and feed those with coal so that they can produce us more iron. We have 10 of these, so we're going to start with 3. And, whoops. And set up some stone furnaces, give all of them a little bit of coal to jumpstart. And, oh, I missed a pipe. How many do we have? 7, 8, 9, 10. I'll need 1, 2, 3, 4 for the stone, and maybe 2 extra for the copper. So I'm just gonna grab this stone up here to get a little bit of extra coal. 50-ish coal. Okay, 26. Thank you for calling me a liar. So you can see the arrows, as we kind of showed off over here. The arrows kind of like spit into or onto whatever is in front of it. So you could have a situation where you had, for instance, a wooden chest, and that would spit directly into this, but we're not going to do that. We're actually going to use 2 of them together, and they will spit their coal right into each other. So you can do it like that and have them alternating like this, or my preferred version is to kind of have them all chaining into each other and just snaking around. So we are going to do that. We're going to jumpstart them, and then as we come by, we can just control click and take all of the all of the coal out of them. This guy needs some more. I like to try to keep like 10 in each of these. It's a little bit more difficult early on, because we are obviously now out of coal. And we also just unlocked electronics. So we needed 10 copper plates to make these, and we definitely needed this for the labs, for the inserters, and for the small electric power poles. This is how we do research. The ones that we have currently, we just kind of accidentally unlocked, which is a new function of Factorio 2.0. And we are going to make 2 labs. And once we make a lab, you can see all the intermediates are being produced. Once we make a lab, that will unlock the ability to create automation science packs, or red science as we call it. And we are just going to continue collecting and hand feeding and doing all kinds of stuff over here. So we're going to set up some coal. That's right. Wow. Stone. I'm going to I promise you, I'm going to call things the wrong thing throughout the entire game. And that's going to be loads of fun. So I'm going to control right click into these and then control left click the last one. That takes half a stack and puts that into the stone. We will need quite a bit of stone to get the smelting that we need in a few episodes. So you can see that that one just lost all of its coal at the same time that I took it, or whenever I took it, it depleted its coal, but the next one, they will all feed into each other. So even if, as long as one is still going, then fine. I actually need more because I need more of these. All right, so 2, 4, we could add some more coal, so maybe 6. Okay. All right, so we need to not talk about, but we need to get some power going. We are 16 minutes into this episode. I generally want to try, and I said this in the last guide, I want to try to aim for 20 to 45 minutes. That was definitely not the case. I would say on average it landed somewhere between probably 40 and 45 minutes per episode, but I am going to try to keep them around 30 minutes if possible. There's just some topics that will absolutely not be possible. So we already determined that we need 2 steam engines and 1 boiler. We've already made an offshore pump, and because these need pipes to create, any pipes that you have pre-created will be gobbled up by these things. So you can see all my pipes just disappeared. We're going to make 2 steam engines for every 1 boiler, and we're going to make some more. So 2 to 1. And you definitely want to make some pipes afterwards. So we're going to do some undergrounds first. I'm only gonna click this once because we only need a single pair. They make 2 at a time, and then we're gonna have some extra pipes. I'm also gonna need some small electric power poles, so we can just queue up a bunch of those. Kind of early in the game, you always want to be crafting something, just to kind of, you know, make sure that you're not gonna run out of stuff. We are gonna get to automation at some point before this episode ends, but for now, you just, you know, queue up some stuff. If you don't know what it is, that's fine, or just, you know, stone furnaces is always a good thing to work on. But some of these too, no burner inserters, we are not using those at all. But transportation belts, inserters, once we unlock automation, which is the next thing that we're going to be going for, and we make the ability to make assembling machines, we will be handcrafting some of those as well. So I do not put any of these on my bars. I do put the underground pipes and the regular pipes on my belt. Same with the small electric power poles. They will go here. I have all of my power items set up here. A lot of my logistical, if it moves something, so if it moves, for instance, a liquid or moves solids, it goes up here. My inserters, I tend to place here. A lot of this is kind of storage related, and then this is kind of like production. That's generally how I have a lot of this set up. And another good tool that you can use, which I can kind of show off now, because there's some stuff on my bars that I don't have the ability to put on yet, but if you Alt and left click anywhere, that brings up this new item called Factoriopedia. And that will show you all of the available or all the items in the game, and you can see there's quite a lot of them. Some of them have been moved around compared to Factorio 2.0, like the non-DLC version. So for instance, we have this whole space section which has the rocket silo and the cargo landing pad, which were not, like, this tab did not exist before the DLC. And that was, I believe that was in production. I believe that was down here somewhere. Yeah, we'll get into a lot of that, but I'm going to use that to add some things to my bars. So I'm going to pipette these and then close out of this and put that on my bars. You can do this to filter chests later on in the game too. Did I not? Oh, that's just a dark spot. I was like, wait a minute, I thought I turned clouds off. Okay, so power. Looking at the map, I think that so our base is gonna go south, and I don't want to interfere with that, but I need to get power down here. So I think that we're gonna start maybe up here. And you know what, we can start down here. That's fine. And I want to have the first connection to be an underground pipe. And the reason why is because I need to come out far enough that one, we have room to work, not work, but move in between. And two, as we build the boilers, which need this water, and you can see that these have arrows on the ends. They're both there's two arrows, one facing to the left and one facing to the right per connection. That just kind of indicates the direction of travel. So the arrow at the top means that it can only go out, but the two arrows on the bottom, the two pairs of arrows, means that it can chain together. So you'll see that with the steam engines too. The steam can go in and out, which means that we can chain these together. So there's two different ways of doing this. You can either have it set up like this, and these will need power poles to generate the power that we need. And then the downside of that is then you would have to, like if we had another pair of boilers here with another steam engine, we would not be able to place one here because the power pole is now in the way. So one way that I like to get around that is, there's two different ways to get around that. You can either put a pipe here, connect these, and then do it like this, which is a way that a lot of people prefer. And then you can have the power pole there, and you get the idea. My way, or the way that I use it, is a little bit more, I'm going to call it labor intensive, but instead of putting a pipe here, I like to put a pipe here. So this will recess the whole layer back by one, instead of expanding the entire row of these that we eventually have out farther, because you're going to have a pipe, 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 and that'll be like, let's say like 10 at least tiles farther back. So I like to do it this way instead. And then that will allow us to put a power pole here, and then we can just do like that. And that will just chain down the line. So we are going to go ahead and activate this. So I'm just going to control left click and put a whole stack in there. And how do I want to do this? So we're eventually going to have, I do not know which direction our coal will come in, but let's assume that maybe we get the coal up from here. I will eventually have coal come across here, and then inserters will insert the coal directly into it. But for now, we're going to have to hand feed it. So what I was just doing was I was actually in map view or remote view, and that will ghost in things automatically and just makes things easy to remove. Yes, okay, so now I have that lined up, so I can... And you don't have to place these individually like this. Like you can see the connection breaks here for the power poles. You can actually just click and drag, so that's going to be quite beneficial for us. So we're just going to drag this over to here. I can see on the map that we're roughly lined up with our smelting, so I'm just going to drag this straight down, and of course there's a bunch of trees. Okay, I'm gonna remove these. We're gonna go more to the right. I should have looked, but I get it. We'll go here. And then, all right. I love doing stuff blind. Okay, so now we have power drag down here, and at any point you can see how much power you're consuming, and how much power you are capable of producing, there will also be a green bar on here that shows how much you are consuming versus how much you are able to produce. Accumulator charge we will discuss later. So these guys all need some coal. So let's grab some more coal. We're 25 minutes into this episode. We need to hurry up and get to the automation part. So I'm just going to start control right-clicking things into... control right-clicking coal in. That'll give us 25. 25 per. And I disabled alt mode somehow. Let's just take all of this. So we have our... I'm going to make right-click automation science twice. Because we need to place... where do I want to place these? Do it like that. So I want to have these down, and we are going to research automation. Cool. You can see, so every single building, you can see the electricity in the bottom right has a very slight amount of let's say a battery charge. So that's how we kind of consumed electricity without actually consuming things. Some of the items, like an inserter, you can see that it has a maximum consumption, which is how much it is actively using, versus a minimum consumption, which, you know, it uses power even if it's not functioning, basically. So we have 10 of these, so I'm going to control right-click into one, and then control left-click into the other to get rid of all of these. That's going to give us automation. These need some more power. We need more coal. I would just say that every time you run by the iron, definitely... Oh, that was probably way too much. Every time you run by the iron, and probably the copper as well, just grab everything that's in there. And I hit X. Whoops. So I have 4 more burners. We're almost to the point where we are not going to be using them anymore, but for now we can just add some more. And I'm going to add 2 more to the coal as well. I don't know how much longer we will need the coal, but... I don't know if you noticed that, but you can rotate the buildings as well. You do not have to do that before placing them. Okay, so we've unlocked automation. So now we can create assembling machines. So we're just going to queue up a bunch of those because we will be using... that was maybe too many. Yeah, we'll just start with a few. Because I need to make some inserters as well, which we should have been doing this whole time. Same with belts. Power poles, we have plenty. Okay, so... I keep hitting X. Jeez. Now we have some assembling machines. I'm going to place one in a way that will allow me to insert into the labs. So an inserter, you have to have space in between the machines to be able to insert from one to the other. So that's how these work. It will take anything on the line side from this side. It will take anything from the line side and put it into whatever's on the arrow side. That includes machines to machines or machines to belts. You always need at least one space to allow for inserters to work. So we're going to change this to automation science, red science. And we need, you can see in the bottom right hand corner over here, if you scroll over, it'll show you the ingredients and how many you need per second for that particular building. We need 0.1 copper per second and 0.1 gear per second to make 0.1 red science per second. So let's put another assembler down and an inserter feeding from it into the red science. And we're going to make iron gear wheels. We just call them gears. We also want to stay within the power grid. And I'm going to put a chest down to allow us to put copper in. No, we need more copper. So now this is going to feed in the copper, and now we need, nope, we need iron plates to make the gears. So we need something feeding into that. You can see that this is not within the power grid, so we're just going to pull one of these down. And we're going to insert some iron into that. So now this is producing to feed this, and this will feed into the research labs. So we also need electric mining. We're also going to queue up military. Nope, not military. We're going to queue up logistics first, and then military. Gun turrets. And I think we're going to go with radar as well. The radar will allow us to have visual coverage of the area. Okay, we're at 30 minutes. I need to quickly wrap this up when I can. Okay, so we have inserters, we have a lot of this. I would like to... let me remove some of these actually. I would like to make some mining drills, electric mining drills, before we get too far. So we're also going to use this to make... Whoops, I just rotated that. We're going to use this to make some transportation belts or yellow belts as well. We need storage for that. And there we go. We have now kind of automated a lot of this stuff. This is hand feeding. We will be automating it to a higher degree later. Alright, so I can dump half into these. And that'll speed up the process of the research. I think I am also going... I need more of these. I think I'm also going to make... we're going to automate some inserters. So to automate inserters, we need iron plates, we need iron gears, and we need electronic circuits. So we have a couple of belts, and we have some gears being made. So I'm gonna put those out on a belt. Give them power, and you can see the amount of power that we're using versus the amount that we can make. So this needs green circuits. So we're gonna make green circuits here. And the green circuits need iron plates and copper cables. We're gonna drop a chest here for the copper cables. And then the copper cables can feed into that. And then we are gonna put a chest here with iron plates. That will feed into it and then output the green circuits into this box. And then from there, we can have an assembler here to make the whatchamacallit? The inserter. Okay, so we have unlocked the ability to make some electric mining drills. We're just going to handcraft a couple of those, and then we're going to call it from there. So yeah, that's going to wrap up this episode. In the next episode, we will continue... We're going to automate a couple more things, but we're going to continue to expand. That's largely Factorio in a nutshell. It's like, you know, the common joke is the factory must grow. You must always be making more and more and more and bigger. I would definitely say though that Factorio in a nutshell is like the biggest obstacle that you're gonna get. The biggest obstacle that is gonna get in your way when you're playing this game is you. And that's generally Factorio in a nutshell. You are solving problems that you created. I had a bit of that in my last guide, and I'm sure that we will have a bit of that in this guide as well. It just kind of is what it is. These things happen. So yes, that is going to be it for this episode. We have these are being created. Perfect. This is getting fed into here. Awesome. And okay. Ah, no, need power. Screw it. Yeah, we'll just do that. Okay, so that is going to be it for this episode. I will see you in the next episode, and thanks for watching.